today for our first session of the new season. For those of you that are new to our group, my name is Lori Lalonde, and I'm the lead organizer of our user group. I've been running this group for about 8 years now. And Dan Wilson's in the back, and he is also a co-organizer. He helps out, he carries stuff in, cleans up, things like that.
We know what really plays.
So I run the show, he just does the thing. He does more than that. So, yeah, that's us. We did have 2 other organizers that were part of our group for a few years. Both decided to step down. Arlen is running a different user group in the area. It's more focused on Azure. And Ken Sanarelli, who all of you may know, he used to run this group as well with me, and he's working in Toronto. So I think the travel, the commute to Toronto is really becoming a lot for him, so he asked to step down for this year. So I apologize that you have to deal with me now. Last year we ran 2 streams so that Ken would run this stream and I ran a different stream so that we have a variation of technologies. Because it's just back to me now and Dan, we're just going to stick with the one stream and see how that goes. And it looks like it's working out perfectly because we're full house tonight, so I'm pretty excited about that. And for those of you that don't know, on our user group site, we do have a code of conduct posted. It's been posted since February, but I added it to our slideshow just to keep it top of mind for everyone. We have a great group. We've always had a lot of fun here. I want to keep that going. Just be respectful of everyone, and so that everyone's here to learn and have a good time. So if you want to know more about the code of conduct or what it includes, please go online and view it at that link. You can also link to it from the main page if you look at the details of our group. So there's that. Also, if you love Twitter, make sure to follow us at CTTDNUG, and then tonight you can include those hashtags so that we can track that, see what you think of the session, post any pictures of Bruno being awesome. And then upcoming events. So there is a conference in Regina. It's called Prairie.com. They run one in Winnipeg in June. I spoke at that one. It was so amazing. They asked me to come back to Regina, so I said okay, and then I would promote their conference for them in return. Just kidding. I always promote their conference. They're awesome. It is a wonderful Canadian conference. It's 2 days. It's like $500 to attend. Which is pretty awesome. I know it's in Regina, but it's still warm, so there won't be snow there. It'll be a good time. So it's October 16th and 17th. And there's also Microsoft Tech Summit, which has been just announced in different cities across Canada. There will be a Tech Summit held. So Halifax, Ottawa, Montreal, Vancouver, Quebec City, and Calgary. I will be speaking at the Montreal one because I want to learn French. I'm not going to be speaking French. But I will be at the Montreal one because it was a great excuse for me to get out to Montreal. There is a Toronto Ignite coming up. That's going to be announced shortly, and registration will be announced for that. But that event won't be until the new year. So if you're holding out for that one, you probably, that means you're going to have to wait till January to go. If you want to go sooner, one of these 4 cities, you can go online and register. And next month, we are hosting building a CI/CD pipeline for Kubernetes. We have all the amazing keywords in there, so we already have 30 minutes lined up. And then Azure DevOps. I haven't officially announced this meetup yet because I didn't want to rain on Bruno's parade and then announce it today when we're holding this one. So I just wanted to be respectful. I'll announce it tomorrow. But Dave Lloyd from ObjectSharp will be out to speak about Azure DevOps, which was previously VSTS. So he's going to talk about the new name, the branding, and more about all the features and things that are included and all the fun things you can do with it. So awesome stuff coming up. We have a great season shaping up for the new year. I also wanted to let you know we are running a lightning round session in December. I don't think I included it here, but it is posted, and there's a link where you could submit a topic. So if you want to speak for 15 minutes on a topic, this is a nice way to get your feet wet. We did lightning rounds in June. It was super popular. So submit your topic and a session you want to talk about for 15 minutes and talk in front of everyone like I'm doing right now, but actually teach people something. So that's what you can do. And without further ado, I will hand it over to Bruno.
Thanks. Usually what's happened, nobody is safe about it. I will analyze your face, I will see what I can do. Hello everyone, thanks Doris, thanks everyone. It's a pleasure to be here, but because she just said, if you want to learn something, if you want to really get deep into something, sign up for this lightning round because you need to speak 15 minutes, but you are going to probably spend a lot of time before this preparing the material. And it's an amazing. I love this. I mean, I've been doing this talking for a long time, but I love to be in this session because I am on that side and I meet a lot of amazing people. And once you are here and you break this, oh my God, I'm speaking and there's a lot of people, it's a great experience. So really, really, if you want to share something, if you want to learn or something like this, go for this. And today is I try to share with you what I've been learning in the last couple of years about machine learning. I am not a data scientist, I am not an AI specialist, I am a .NET developer who somehow get in touch with these tools, get to learn these kind of things. So what I'm going to share with you is the point of view of the developer, who is not a specialist, but is getting there. And right now in the Microsoft scope, which is basically where I move most and the tools that I know, there are two things which are very important, very nice, which is machine learning.net and Windows and WINML, Windows Machine Learning. So I'm going to try to talk with you about both of them. And to be honest with you, you are going to see this everywhere. You're going to see, if you go to a machine learning or whatever, artificial intelligence, any session you're going to see, you need to be aware, you need to care about AI and ML right now. This is very important. Everybody's talking about this. Even if you move farther and you start to see what are we doing today, what are the problems that we are using, that we are focusing with this, you're going to find that analyzing pictures. I don't know if you know the story behind this, and I am trying to go directly to the code because I am a developer. I like to show this with code. But 35 years ago, one of the fathers of artificial intelligence give one task to one of his students, a summer task, a 3-month project, saying, hey, create a simple algorithm to detect, to analyze pictures. Because they think, back in those days, they were very naive, they were very optimistic, they think it's going to be a simple task. Analyzing picture is a crappy, complicated stuff. And even today, with all of the power that we have, try to understand when I take a picture, oh, there is a dog here, and there is a tree there, and there is a swan. It's crazy, crazy difficult. But hey, we are getting there. Something as simple as identifying objects or people in photos, we are getting better, but we are still getting there. And there are other things. I am not going to cover all of this. Recommend products, you enter into Amazon, you go to Netflix. Hey, it seems that you like this. Maybe you should watch that. Do some predictive maintenance. My kids are not going to learn to drive. My kids are going to basically get into the car, take me to the theater, or take me to see some soccer game. Yes, soccer. I was born in Argentina. I live 11 years in Spain. My father and mother are from Italy. I have soccer exploding. They are going to have to go to see hockey players or something like this, but they are not going to learn. But if you think that there is no limit for this, you are right. This is not a joke. 1 month ago, IBM presented a patent to basically deliver coffee to you with drones. And this is IBM. This is not a small, crazy group of people. This is one of the big, old players there. So they created this. You can even go online and see the patent and see how it's working, because they are going to use a specific set of drones. They're going to use cameras to do face analytics, to say, hey, this is your Bruno, so this is your coffee. There are a lot of things there, but this is the type of things we are doing right now with AI. So we are not doing this, but these big players are doing this. And I am going to share with you a couple of videos. These are not public videos. I need to get consent to publish this, but this is the test that they are doing to see how they're working. So let's see if they're working.
Oh, fine. Oh.
Sorry about that. I was looking to the IBM graph 2 weeks ago, and somehow I get here, and see this 40 seconds video and say, hey, next session, I do need to share this video. It's amazing. I am not going to trust the big coffee machine dropping coffee. That's it, yeah. And as I said, this is a real patent. This is the real stuff that IBM is doing right now. But going back to machine learning seems to be, it's a very old topic. It's been around for the last 50, 60 years. Right now it's very popular because basically we are getting to a point that the hardware allows us to be very fast and to learn and to basically test a lot of hypothetical models that we have in the back. But right now, basically machine learning is, I will start with a set of data. I will pick up a set of tools to build the model. I will create a model to work with this data, and I will use this model. And I will evaluate and use this model. It's very similar. If you're a developer, the way that we usually work in a very low level is we create functions. We know that we are going to have this data, we create a function to produce an output. In the machine learning world, it's very similar, but we start with the data, which is sometimes is already have some labels and categorizations, and we apply models. We apply algorithms. We create a model. So when we have a new row of data, we are going to drop the new row into this model, and the model is going to say to me, "Hey, I am sure that I am 25% sure that the decided output is A, B, or C, something like this." But it's very similar. The main thing that we have here is that we don't need to code. Non-technical. There is a lot. We need to basically work a lot, working with the data, preparing the data, and building and training this model. And then, and one thing that we can do right now with machine learning is an example. I was talking about before how easy it is to detect a face. The first face detection algorithm, I can't remember the name of the lady who created this, is something years old, and it basically pick up a photo, move the photo into the grayscale, try to look the shadows of the eyes and the nose, and with this it detects the face. And it's 30-something years, and it works great. However, trying to detect face, trying to do this kind of things is not as easy as it seems, because there is a lot of a picture for us is amazing, it's something we can see and understand what it's doing, but for a computer, a picture is basically an array of numbers. So how do you detect pattern in numbers? It's all about trying to detect patterns and work there. So this is machine learning. In machine learning, what we do is we create a model, and we drop a lot of pictures in the model, an example, and if there are some machine learning expert here, I'm sorry. This is the 5 minutes that you're going to hate, but I am trying to put this to help me later. But we're going to create a model, we're going to drop a lot of pictures, and we're going to like the picture. This is a face, this is a face, this is not a face, this is not a face. And somehow, at some moment, this model will be smart enough that when I drop a new picture, it's going to say, hey, I think there is a face there, or no, there is no face there. So this is the ABC of what we are doing. And the type of thing that we are doing when we are doing machine learning is there are several ways to train these models. You have supervised model and supervised. I am not going to go deep into the details, but basically what we can do is classification models. I will train a model to say, hey, this is A or this is B. I will train a model, and you're going to see how we do this very quickly with 10 lines of code to see if I have a set of data, I can know if this is a girl or this is a boy, or this is a kid, or this is a teenager, or something like this. I can do prediction, I can do regressions. The typical example here is the weather. What is going to happen based on this historical set of data with this? By the way, weather in Canada. I came from Spain. I was used to get out of my house without even know what's happening outside. I get up, get my clothes, and that's it. Welcome to Canada. Here. Also, there are other type of training, which is unsupervised training, where you basically drop tons of data to some models, and the model will be smart enough to detect patterns, to understand that, oh, all of this data seems to have this, and this is very high-level explanation, have this in common, and all of these data have this in common, so it's going to create some cluster of data. And this is amazing if you are analyzing images. If you are analyzing fraud, you can detect that, hey, this user always do ABC, 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 so goes into this normal user. And we have other fraudulent, not so normal users. So we can do a lot of things with this, and it's very, very easy. But as I said, I am a code guy, so let me show you how is the hello world with one of the topics that I want to show today, which is Windows Machine Learning, WINML. So, everybody is comfortable. I hope that everybody is comfortable with C#, with some coding. It's going to be very easy. But one of the things that, as a developer, let me put the code a little. Oops, too much. This is fine. You can see it fine. Okay.
Even 100 was fine.
But one of the things that is important, and this is, forget about the code, I want to explain, is that if you are a developer, you can do a couple of things. You can create your own models. You can train and you can spend a lot of time or very few time creating your own models, or you can reuse models. And there are some, if you're thinking about reusing models, there are a couple of options there. You can call HTTP endpoints that are online from Microsoft, Amazon, Facebook, Google, whatever. And this is basically a call, and you drop an image there, and they're going to say, hey, there's a face or there is not a face. And this is a service-pay model. So basically, you go to the community services in Microsoft, you drop a picture, it's going to detect a picture, a face, it's going to say, in these pictures, at this coordinate, there is a face, and this is a male, this age, and it's probably smiling. And if you have, I don't know, 20, 25, free image per day, I can't remember the numbers. And if you pass this 25 limit, you need to pay for each one of these. So this is a model where you can use very powerful online services that are available, as I said, for the big ones. Then you can, if you have the model and you have access to the model, you can somehow embed this model into your applications. So you're going to use these models as if you add a new assembly here. You can add a new reference and you can use this model here. And there are several marketplaces of models that you can go there and use it. And right now, this is not the new JavaScript, but this is kind of a mess. Because there are a lot of tools, there are a lot of frameworks. So depending what you are doing, if you are an Android developer, you're going to use TensorFlow and this other stuff. If you are an iOS developer, go to CoreML, here what you have. So there's a lot of things that you can do, but the important thing here is that you can somehow pick up this model, which was created by machine learning and train it, and use it inside your application. And this is what I'm going to do right now. I am going to download one model. Let me open Firefox. From the Azure Machine Learning Gallery, which is basically the first endpoint to go and search everything related to machine learning and AI for Azure. And there are a section here with models, and they have a lot of models here. You can see that there are some Alexa models. Let me go to the, let me go to all. I am going to use this one. Where is this? Where is this? Where is this? Tiny solo. No. Okay, this one, which is a model to detect faces and emotions. And this is a simple file. It has an ONNX extension, which is called Onyx extension, and this is a 34 download size. And basically, as I said, this is a model, and this is kind of a closed black box who has an input and an output. And the input expects an image with this size, and the output is going to be an array of numbers, 8 numbers, and these numbers are going to give us, when it detects the face, it's going to give us a score to say, hey, I am from 0 to 1, sure that there is a neutral face, a happy face, surprise face, sadness, and yada yada yada. The way that I use this in an application is like this. So this is an empty application. This is in Windows 10. This is a universal Windows platform application. This is empty, it doesn't have any code. But what I am going to do here, I am going to start using one of the controls, which is part of the Microsoft Toolkit. I can't remember the name, it's somewhere here. Microsoft Toolkit control, which is amazing, and basically allows me to have a camera. This control is going to do all of the required background work they need to do to hook to my camera and to take a picture of my face. Which, by the way, my mother said that is handsome, very handsome. So I have my camera, and that's it. And the next thing that I'm going to do is I am going to add here into this project the Onyx model. So let me go to add existing item. I have here in Kitchener Onyx resource or file. So here is the file that I have here. Is an Onyx file. Let me show the extension. And one cool thing here, yes, replace it. One cool thing here in Visual Studio is that with the latest version that I am using the preview version, which is the experimental version, but if you use the standard, it's going to be, I think it's available since April update or something like this, is once you add the model, it will automatically create a class, which is going to be a wrapper around your model, and it's going to create all of the necessary artifacts that you need to analyze and understand the input and the output. So if I go here and open, you see here is my model, and if I open this fair emotion class, there is 3 classes here. You have an input class, which is going to analyze a video frame. So I will drop a frame from the camera and that's it. I have an output class, which is basically a list of float numbers. As we see in the definition, there are going to be 8 numbers, I hope, with emotions. And I also have a model class, which has all of the necessary lines to load the model in memory and understand how it's working. So what I am going to do here is I am going to, because I didn't want to write this, I am going to write some code later. I am going to write, I am going to use these 20 lines of code. And what I am going to do is when I navigate this, when I start this application, I think I put my name as camera preview, yes. I am going to open my model from the location that is going to be part of the application. So in order to do this, I need to pick up my model and say that, oops, it's going to be part of my application. So basically here, I am saying that my model, the Onyx file, is going to be part of the, let me remove full screen, and go back to full screen. It's going to be part of the application. And then I'm going to initialize my model, and every time that the new frame is arrived to the camera, I have an event here, and this is the event. I will do some defensive code in here to validate that I have. Really, you still need to double check things. I still have an array of bytes. If I have an array of bytes, I am going to evaluate the model. So let me try this. Let me put a breakpoint there, stop this one, let's build it. And let's try the application. It's going to take some time the first time that I run this because I need to deploy the application. But let's see how it works. Amazing. Extra time to drink some water. Okay. Let's run this. So it's trying to register the app, it's trying to, where is the app? It's going to probably ask me permission to use the camera because it's the first time that I'm using the app. Yes. So that's me trying to fake a surprise. Somewhere here is somewhere like this. So I have here my video frame, which we can see here, which is a full, I can access it because it's already exposed. But I have here as part of the input, and I have already the output. And if I check the output, we are going to see that we have the arrays with all of the values here. So I have a very big value in the first one is neutral, but in the number 4, which is 1, 2, 3, disgust, oh my god. And have negative values in the other, so I was going for surprise. It didn't work, I have a surprise. But the main idea here is that this is a trained model. This is a trained model from created, and you can see here with the papers behind all of this. But this is using right now some standard which is called Onyx, and I'm going to explain it. And you can use it with two lines of code in your application. So, in example, if you want to create a real application, you can do something like this, which is G8, which use this, and it's going to showcase. It's going to show an emoji based on my face. So I can go here for surprise, for happy, for I don't know, sad. So it's working. So come here, do me a favor. If you are okay, who want to do me a favor, 5 minutes?
All right.
So the idea here is that when I press start, it's going to basically ask you to do one of the motion. You try to do the best that you can. So copy the emoji. Go for disgust. I don't know. I never. Go for surprise. Hey, you're very good at surprise. Happiness. Very good at happiness.
Okay, sad. Awesome.
I look
This is
constipated.
the moment that I ask permission for you and share this in Twitter. I am not going to do this, but this face emotion recognition is something that is available for a long time in a lot of technologies, but it was very freaking expensive right now, until these days. Right now, it's, as you see, it's 5 lines of code, and you can do this in your application. I'm sure you're not going to create this. It's not taking but you can use it, and it's available, and it's here, and it's only 20-25 lines of code, so you can see what you can do. And there are other models here. I write about other things. So there is, let me see if it's one of the first one. So this is an image recognition. This is a very popular image recognition algorithm, which is called YOLO, which is not the standard YOLO that you probably know. You only look once. But this is an Onyx package. I think it has over 20 classes, and the latest version, the V3, it's over 100 classes. But you drop an image there, and it will automatically recognize cars, people walking, a lot of things, and 2 clicks. And it's all based on Onyx. And let me explain to you what is Onyx and why Onyx is important for Windows 7. So we see that extension was Onyx, which is goes for open neural for this one. And this is something that was created during this year. It started 2 years ago, but it was public this year. And it's an agreement, and it's a partnership between Microsoft, Facebook, and Amazon, which is since a very good excuse to see what the guy are doing. Because as I said, there are a lot of tools right now for machine learning. TensorFlow is maybe the popular. Microsoft has their own TensorFlow, which is CFTK. There are Coffee 2. There are a lot of standards. So Onyx is kind of a standard agreement. So if you create a model and you know how to work with TensorFlow and you want to your model be used in Windows, hey, go for Onyx, and someone can be using Windows. If you create a model or train something and you want to exchange something with people using another tools, there are a lot of things here that you can use for these kind of things. And as I said, even if you don't see Google here, by the way, TensorFlow, which is the popular, I'm going to talk about, you want to listen to TensorFlow a lot, for me, is from Google. Google is not officially here, but the community behind Onyx is supporting everything from TensorFlow. So I am hoping that at some moment they are going to basically add the Google check here, and you have the big ones. And they also have this Onyx, the Onyx Foundation has agreement with a lot of hardware providers, which means that once you move your model to Onyx standards, they are optimized to work in very crazy and powerful NVIDIA graphic cards and this kind of thing, which is amazing. So in the Windows 10 April's update, basically Windows started to support native Onyx models, and this is amazing. So how you can create models? How you can create Onyx model? Which is the way that you can create? I mean, if you are a Azure Machine Learning user, which is kind of the web version of a very powerful set of machine learning tools that has from Microsoft, when you create a model there, it's not a model, it's an experiment there. You can export your training experiment into an Onyx file. There are tools, a set of tools which is called WINML tools, and they can convert CoreML, Ellipse, and other to Onyx, and vice versa. You can convert from Onyx to this one. You can create your set of amazing Onyx models using Azure Custom Vision. I don't have time for this, but this is an amazing tool from Microsoft which allows you to create very powerful image analytic process without even have any machine learning knowledge. And The last one is you can go to the AI models, to the Azure AI and download model from there. And they keep this very, very updated right now. And the nice thing also about WINML is that WINML is smart enough to basically, if you are a Windows developer, you don't need to think about, hey, do I need to use my CPU or my GPU for this? Which is the best way to solve this? You drop the problem to WINML, and WINML will understand which is the best way to do this. And one very important thing, there is something called here which is called DirectML. If you like to play games, in 2019, your head is going to blow because one in the gaming, unless you are eSports or one of the big ones, in the gaming community, doing AI stuff is very, very complicated. It's hard. It's not easy to do AI. That's why when you are looking for, I don't know, for FPS shooter games, most of the time what you're facing? Zombies. Because a zombie is very easy. I mean, the zombie needs to do this. They hit the turn and they move like this. You're not expecting to have a very smart agent there. You have zombies and they put more zombies. And DirectML is going to open the opportunity, and besides all of these kind of things, to make games, to take the intelligence of the game to a new level. So it's going to be huge, and we are starting to see some people trying these kind of things internally, and it's amazing. So it's a very good time also to understand that if you are a developer, Windows is going to do a lot of things for you, and that's it. And also the community, I'm sorry, too many. The community is here. You don't even need to be in Windows to create these kind of models. It's all there. So it's a nice time to go there. And that's my half hour about Onyx. About WINML. One thing, I speak a lot. I speak fast.
That's fine.
And I'm very passionate. If you have any questions, raise your hand and go, hey Bruno, something like this. Because if not, I am going to speak until the end of the session. And also give me time to breathe and not faint. My wife says it's useful. It's useful for this kind of things. So the second part is machine learning.net, which is basically, how many of you are .NET developers? Any .NET developers? Okay. So .NET covers a lot of things. It's amazing. It's crazy. If you go to cloud, web, whatever, you can do stuff with .NET. And this year, in the build session a couple of months ago, they made public the first version of Microsoft, for machine learning.net, which is a framework, a tool, and a set of tools to do machine learning using .NET. So, why I think it's important? When I started to do things in .NET, in machine learning, you have basically two options there. You need to learn Python or you need to learn R, and both are very good languages, but they have some limitations there. So, in example, if you're going to learn Python to do machine learning, you don't only need to learn Python. You need to understand the ecosystem. So you need to understand, and you need to install Anaconda. And then Anaconda is going to install things for you, and you're going to work with frameworks and version. And this version is not compatible with this other. So you're only going to spend 10 or 15% of the time learning the language. The other thing that you're going to spend, you're going to spend 75 or 80% of your time to understand how the platform works. If you already know C#, you already know the .NET language, you are going to, if you start here, you don't need to care about the platform. You go directly to learn how machine learning works. And then when you learn how machine learning works, you can switch concepts from here to Python or to other platforms very, very easy. So that's why I think it's important to even take a look and see how it's working. So, in example, what are the type of things that we can do right now with these kind of things? We're investing a lot of efforts in my company to do image analysis. Because, as I said, this is something which seems easy, but it's not easy, it's complicated, there are a lot of things. So we spend a lot of time trying to create a model to analyze a picture, and when we try to detect dogs on Chihuahua here, what we are doing is we clean the picture, we look for a pattern of a light brown circle, and then we look for a darker spot which is going to be the eyes on the nose, and you know what? We create a model we can detect pattern, chihuahuas, or if you take, yes, and if you take any of these pictures, nothing the Chihuahua, and drop into Microsoft, Facebook, Google, or whatever, you are still going to say, this is a dog, and this is a mouse. As simple as this is like this. There are other things that you can do. An example, pick up a photo where it has a stop sign. And if you drop in any machine learning, in any image recognition system, you're going to say, this is a sign of a stop. Pick up the sign, usual red sign with the stop in white, and draw a white line below the stop. It won't recognize the image anymore. Because it doesn't fit to the pattern. We are very smart doing these kind of things. The machines are learning to do this. But hey, this is machine learning to do. And as I said, let me show you how we can do a quick hello world in machine learning.net. So let's close this one. And I am going to create here, the first thing that I am going to do, I am creating here, I have a couple of, let me hide this, I have a couple of demos here, but I am going to create one from scratch, so you can take a look and see how it's works. And the first time that I did this, I remember I was doing this from, I was doing this from home I was doing a webcast, and someone started, I have my kids in the pool, they were doing a lot of noise in the background, so someone said, what is all of the noise? And I said, I'm sorry, I have my window here, they are in this room, there. So I created, based on this, I created a CSV file, which has this is the data that I have there, which is basically 4 columns here, and I have the name of the kid, the age that they have, the gender, and I did it very quick and I'm very smart. I did a very quick analysis here, and I put, this is a kid, this is a kid, this is a baby, a teenager, kid, baby, kid. So I created this, and that days I have 14 people, 14 kids at home. My wife was very happy, taking care of all of them in the back.
Yeah.
But what I'm going to show you now is how we can create some kind of easy model that if I add a new line here with the name, and the age, and the gender, it's going to say, hey, this is a kid, a baby, or a teenager. And that's it. I mean, you can do this with an if, which is fine. It's very going to be much more faster, but hey, we can do this with C# also, which is nice. So the first thing that I need to do is I need to add the machine learning package, the machine learning package. So this is Microsoft ML. I am going to add my package here. Here it is. Microsoft ML. You see that there are a lot of other packages. I am going to cover in other demos one of the others. And once I have this package, I will have everything that I need to create a very smart kids analytic automatically label system in my application. So a couple of seconds, should be there. Okay, in the meantime, I am going to pick up my Excel file, and I am going to automatically copy this to the output because I'm going to need this to use it later. So I think the package is installed. There it is. By the way, build was in April, I think, or May. They presented version 0.1. Right now we can use, the official one is 0.5, and the preview is 0.6, which is amazing. It's going very, very, very fast. So the first thing that I need to do here is I need to create the pipeline. Because when I do the ABC, and I will show you some graphics later, the ABC of a machine learning process is load the data, work with the data, define which are the important information that they want to analyze, which are the labels, which are the features, and train the system. So in order to do this, machine learning.net use something created, name it a pipeline. So I am going to create a pipeline, a learning pipeline, and the next thing that I'm going to do is, I am going to add a couple of classes. I have them here, which are the ones which are going to allow me to they are going to let me this in. these classes basically represent the data that I have in my CSV. So they are going to allow me to work with hardcode system, and then the output is going to be a label because I'm going to predict this label to see if it's a kid or not. So once I have my classes and I have my pipeline, the next thing that I need to do is basically create, let me add a couple of imports here, create my pipeline and train my pipeline. Let me copy the name and I will show you what I am doing here. So, let's review these lines. I create the pipeline. The next thing that I'm going to do is going to say, hey, all of my data is going to come from a CSV file that I have here. So I'm going to load this in memory and it's going to use this structure. And because my file has headers, I will say, hey, I have headers. I can go deep here to load information, not only for CSV, I can load information from external SQL database. Everything which can work with an I-list, which is basically the standard collection in .NET, can be used here. So if you need to load data from a SQL, I don't know, from a Hadoop database in the cloud, you can load your data, put in memory, come here, load by chance. There are tons of options here, but the first thing that I'm going to do here is basically say, hey, I'm going to load my data. Once I have my data, I am going to say, hey, the important thing for me to work is the label column. So I am going to dictionarize this. I used to make up a lot of words in Spanish. When I make up words in English, which is basically my second or third language, it's going to be crazy. But I'm going to create a dictionary with a label. Then I am going to say, okay, the first thing that I want to do is basically define the label, try to understand the label, and my features, which is the one that I want to work, is the age. So based on the age, I know this is going to be a kid, a baby, or a teenager. And then this is the model, this is the trainer that I'm going to use. This is kind of a standard. It's DCA, stochastic, whatever. And this is the one which is going to do the training system. And I'm going to show you how using different models, you can have different outputs. Because one part here important is that for me as a developer, I am not going to create new trainers. Or maybe yes, but I am sure that I'm not going to create new trainers. But out of the box, I have here over 50, 30, I can't remember. There are a lot of models here that I can use, so I can play around with this model to see which ones work better for me. And then I'm going to say, hey, predict my label using this in the column called predicted label. So this is my pipeline. This is what I'm going to do. The next thing that I need to do is, I have my usings. I'm going to train my system. So again, training is very easy. Pipeline, train, input, output, and I will get a model. And the next thing that I can do once I have the model is I can do some predictions. Because I want to have some kind of nice inputs here, I create this function. It's a very simple function which basically I'm going to add my model, name, age, and gender. It's going to create the input, and I'm going to say model.predict, and I'm going to display here the output in the console. So once I have this, I can do some predict model, and I will put a name here. Let me put my Santi. He is 4, and he's a male. So this is the ABC of what I have here. I can train my model. Once I have my model trained, I can do some prediction. So let's try this one. Start up. Okay, so let me kill some elements so you can see. So I have my pipeline. I have the pipeline here. I will, this is also important, I hope you can see. The pipeline is kind of empty right now. It doesn't have any columns or any rows. It's empty. Once I load my text loader, it will automatically get all of the info here from my CSV. So this is just for you so that you can take a look. If you're working with tons of columns and tons of rows, it doesn't make any sense, but in this simple scenario, it makes sense to see what is happening here. So when I said that the latest label the latest column label is going to be a dictionary, you're going to see how this kid, baby, teenager columns is going to change and automatically have here the last one is modifier. And then I am going to say that my feature is going to be the age. So when I say a new feature with the age, I have here my age, and there seems to be an issue. Okay, let me do one more. I will do my prediction. I will train my model. Yes, there is an issue here, which is basically this should be a comma separated values, and it's separated by tabs. So I need to replace this. I just realized when I was looking there that let me add, I have the backup. This is the file that I'm looking for, and instead of boy, I will look for kid, baby, kid. I'm sorry, it seems that last time I was working with this, somehow I changed my commas by tabs. That's why when I was doing the prediction, when I was doing the changes, it didn't fit any column. So I have my pipeline here. I create the pipeline, I load the pipeline. If I go back here and open the rows.
Different file.
Oh, different name. Yes, you're right. And I need to double check that it needs to be copied. Hey, this will happen when you are doing live coding.
Yeah.
Okay, go to the pipeline, go to the rows. Here are the rows. There it is. Now I have each one of the rows. And when I dictionarize the label, you're going to see how the kid, baby, teenage is going to change. By a 0, a 1 is going to basically put a number there. In machine learning, everything should be numeric. So we need to change everything in a string to number. But somehow this is smart enough, the framework is smart enough. So if I add a new feature, which is going to be the age, it's going to add a new feature there. And you see that I have here my age in this kind of bracket. And then I'm going to add my trainer. I am going to train this. 1, 2, 3 is going to do some magic. It's trained very fast. It's only have 14 rows, so it's going to do very fast. But I have my train here, and I can do a prediction. How I do a prediction? Basically, with my model. Oops, there it is. I create a new element. Age gender doesn't have any label, and I have a prediction here. And my prediction says that this is going to be a kid. So this is a very simple. Santi, age 4, gender M is a kid. I can do from now on here. I can put, I don't know, let's put my wife, she's 46. She's not going to be happy about this. And I just realized that you are filming this, so please edit this part. Because I want to be also part of the system, and let me add the baby. It's going to be she is 1 year old, and with this, I am doing this, 1, 2, 3, 4, is going to train everything. We already have all of the data, and a couple of seconds later, I have somehow take a picture of this. My wife is going to be happy. But I have here gender is baby, 1 year, 4 is a kid, and based on the original set of data, is get here. The important thing, and don't care about the output, is that it took me these lines. Try to do this. 10 lines, 15 lines to do everything. And this is the ABC. I mean, at the end it's going to be much more complex. You are going to do other things, but this is the ABC of what you can do for a very simple scenario. So, and one more time. Sorry about the data. how you're going to use, what is the idea of use for machine learning.net? As I said, there are two ways to use these pre-built models, the ones that you can use from the cloud, in example, with the Azure Cognitive Services, or you can create your custom model with one of these tools, CNTK, TensorFlow, other. I didn't even know of that there is already a machine learning framework for .NET, which is called Arcor.net. This been up and running for several years, and it's amazing. But I didn't even know this guy, so as I said, there is a full ecosystem here. So our focus is ML.NET, and with what we are trying to cover here. So one of the models that we can use online, an example, is a text analytics model, which is basically to drop a text and it will give you some hints, like an example, automatically it's going to detect the language of the text. So if you have a SharePoint list with documents and you need to automatically categorize the documents based on the language, you drop a document and it will automatically say this is English, this is French, go here or there, that's it. You will also analyze the sentiment there. Basically for tweets, for forums, you want to avoid negative words or not so happy words, these kind of things. So you can do this. However, there are some scenarios, like an example this one. If you are working in Dyson, by the way, my wife loves Dyson, with very strong vacuums.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know that you can have all of that power in the vacuum. You know the story of the Dyson guy, Dyson guy? He used to be he used to create motors for planes, and he has this amazing design, and he couldn't find the plane. He was going to use the design, so what is the other place where I can put all of this power in the vacuum? So that's how he started with this. And they are moving to another. It's an amazing company. It's the Tesla of vacuums. So if someone tweets this sentence, this vacuum cleaner sucks so much dirt, and you run into the standard text analytics sentiment analysis client, is going to say that, hey, this is a very bad tweet because it has the word sucks so much. But for a vacuum, it doesn't make any sense. It's a good one. So in these scenarios are the ones that you need to create your own models. And the way that you create a model is very simple. For this one like this, you go to your forum or whatever, you pick up 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, whatever you want of comments, and you label these comments. Good, bad, good, bad, good, bad, good, bad, good, bad, good, bad, good, bad. Once you have your label, once you have your model trained, you drop this one. If it says it's bad, you mark it as good, you train again your model, and it's going to be good. And that's it. And that's the idea here, that you can build your own model, you can train your own model, and if you, Laurie said that, hey, this is CI, you're going to have a Kubernetes CI/CD session. This is CI. This is train the model, use the model, evaluate your model, improve your model, train again, train again, train again, train again, train again. Right now, the main challenge for us working here is how we can automate all of this. How we can only spend time trying to figure out how we can use the data, analyze the data, and all of the things going automatically. And this is C#, this is .NET. With Azure DevOps, I need to start to say Azure DevOps. No, this was services. With Azure DevOps, this is like this. Because it's already there. They've been supporting Azure and is supporting .NET for the last 12 years, so it's already there. And why do you want to do this? As I said at the beginning, you have Python, you have R, these are great. I mean, machine learning is not going to compete there, it's not the idea. Machine learning.net, I'm sorry. The idea is that if you are, my point of view, if you are a .NET developer, this is an amazing starting point. Because once you get the idea, the basic concept of what is a trainer, how should I clean my data, and then you move to Python, in example, and TensorFlow, you're going to, oh yes, this is this, and you're going to spend hours of your day fighting with versions and platforms, these kind of things, but you already know the basics. So, if you know C#, this is the starting point. So, let me make the complex a little more, the sample a little more complex. So, I only do the training for the system using the age code, but the idea is that maybe I will say that this is a boy, I will leave baby and teenagers, and I will say this is a girl, maybe this is a boy, and I will say based on the age and the gender, I will say for boy, girl, for my girl is a boy, and so on. Yeah, boy, yes. This is boy, girl,
Boy.
boy, and girl, and just in case, Lori, she is 29,
Ah.
and I will put woman, I don't know which one,
It's an
which
A.
is the lady.
Hey.
And I will add my brother, Aníbal, he's 39, I think, man, and he is a lady and Mr.
A gentleman.
Gentleman. So with this new trainer, if I run this, probably my wife and myself are going to be. We are supposed to be gentlemen. No, we are still.
Teenager.
Which is great. So we need to train the model more. But my idea right now is to add the new column here, the column of the gender, to see if it makes sense. I was only using the age. So what I am going to do is, let me delete all of this. And, oops, let me put this here. And I, again, load the CSV, use the label of the main output that I want to do. I will change the gender, to numbers. So the text vectorizer is going to pick up the M of the F and it's going to transform it to 1 or 0s. And then I am going to say that my feature is going to be a mix between gender and age, because this is what I want to do, and then the other thing is the same. So if I didn't make any mistake in the code, and I hope not, let's run this again. Let's do the pipeline, load the pipeline, open the pipeline so you can take a look at the numbers here, the rows. So I will change the output. So right now we have 0, 1, 2, even we have 3 with the other values. Then we have the column concatenator. You see that there the gender was transformed, the M and F were transformed to 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1. From this, I will create the features. So you have here at the end a feature which is a mix between the age and the gender, and then it's going to do the train. And with this, I probably need to add some other.
Yes.
Oh, somehow it pick up. I don't know. That's nice. That's the nice things also about machine learning. Sometimes these things happen, and you, oh my god, it's amazing. You go back to be surprised. But it's already. This guy is a boy right now, so I probably need to add a girl. These two are already here, have lady and gentleman. I need to work a little here because I think I need at least 2 rows to make something there, but we can see how it's working. And hey, I can create this, I can make it much more complex. And in order to add a new column, I only need to transform my column into number and say that my features are age and gender. So again, it's not much more complicated. There are a lot of things that you can do here, and there is an easy way to learn and move. So let me close this one and move forward the presentation. So yes,
So if we take like a 5-minute break?
perfect.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, so have the washrooms are down. If